Hey everyone, how's it going today? It's been about a month since I posted a video, probably on YouTube or my blog, and it's been a while since I've written my blog, probably a few weeks. I'm just taking a break this summer, trying to hang out with family. And as I was doing that this summer, I thought about just my use of technology, specifically my cell phone, my iPad, my computer, and how often, even though I love it, right? I love using that stuff. It's been super helpful and helped me um, do my work and connect to other people and meet new people. Um, it gets in the way. I found myself this summer taking a lot of photos about my kids doing stuff rather than actually interacting, right? I find myself distracted looking at news or a Facebook feed while my kids are yelling for my attention to watch them, right? Or I find myself just vegged out on the couch, TV on, looking at my phone while my wife is sitting next to me on her phone, and we're not connecting. We're missing huge opportunities for connection. Now, again, I love technology, and sometimes there's some great things about just sitting with each other and kind of you're just checking your own stuff and doing some work and messages, right? But what I know from my own personal experience and what I know from a majority of the couples that I work with in counseling, majority of the families, majority of the individuals, technology has become a huge barrier or hindrance in the relationships. I hear spouses often talk about how they don't feel as important or as valued um, as their spouse's cell phone, right? Their spouse somehow cares more about what's happening out there than what's happening between them and the relationship. And people don't often express that because it sounds silly, right? Like to say that the phone is more important than me, that kind of sounds silly when we say it out loud, but it's true. People feel that a lot. And though technology may not be the root of their issue in the marriage or the family, it oftentimes becomes a symptom to things that we see. And the symptom is what it points to is a huge disconnection, often in the um, in the relationships we have. Um, it can often point to a discontent in ourselves, like we're not able just to sit with ourselves and be with ourselves. So we have to constantly drown out and crowd out any thoughts that we have, right? It can point to fears of being alone, so we got to constantly distract ourselves or the need to be entertained. So technology can often point to some of the issues in our own life, and so I just see it time and time again in marriages and families, and I see it in my own life, right? And so again, if we love technology and it's not going away, right? I don't want it to go away. I got to think about how to use it more effectively and how to place healthy boundaries around it. And again, I'm going to point out I do love technology. Um, I've been online like you for a long time, been blogging for 10 or 11 years, and been on Twitter for like 6, 7 years, and been on Facebook for 6, 7, 8 years. I enjoy this stuff, okay, but we have to be responsible in how we use it. And so I'm going to tell you about two tips that I have found to be very helpful in helping my own life and family life. And I'll go through them pretty quickly. Um, Number one is having what I call a tech basket. And I didn't make this up. A therapist I used to work with named Helen Evans in 2008 told me about this idea, and then I started teaching this idea with my friend John Dyer around Dallas and some other workshops and conferences, and we blogged about it and posted some video. But it's simply getting a box or a basket or having a space, and you want this space to be central, so like on your kitchen counter or like on a table when you come home, and it needs to be central so people see it when they walk in the door, whenever they come through the garage or the back door or whatever. And the tech basket is simply this. What you do is when you come in the house or whatever rules you've set, you put, like, for example, your iPad and your phone in there, your computer, and it's there. It's a boundary. You leave it there. And being in a basket does two different things. One is when I walk in, I see the basket. It's a quick reminder. Oh yeah, I'm entering a new space, a new transition, and so I need to put that away. And I'll tell you one thing, most conflict that I find in couples and family life is in the transition pieces. It's the leaving and the coming home. There's more missed expectations and conflict around those two times. And so walking in and seeing something and immediately recognizing a transition and putting your stuff away in order to be present and available is huge, right? And every family has different rules. Right now, the rule for me and my family is when I walk in the house, I put everything away. I don't touch it again until I've had dinner, we've played with the kids, until I put the kids to bed, until I've come downstairs, hung out with my wife, until we've spent time connecting and talking and talking about our day and processing. And then I'll go back and pick it out and take a look. And if I have anything I need that's urgent, I need to return, like a message or an email, I'll do that. But often there's nothing urgent, right? Here's the truth. We are not as important as we think we are often. People are not always waiting to call us or don't need us to respond all the time. Unless you're have a job that you're on call all the time, it's not that urgent. And so I usually leave stuff back away and I go back out and hang out with my wife unless I have work that I need to do. But for me, that's the rule, right? And sometimes I haven't always had a basket and I'll leave stuff in the car or I'll put it away in a drawer. Every family has different rules. I work with some families where the rule is everyone comes home at a certain time, mom, dad, kids from school, say 5 o'clock, 5:36, and everyone puts their devices away. And it's not taken out again until like 8 o'clock or 8:30. And for younger kids, it's often not taken out till the next morning, till 8 a.m. And the devices stay in there. And so it's simply a boundary. And right, when you walk in the door, first the basket serves as a reminder, hey, I'm entering a new transition, new space. It also serves as a reminder that this is sacred space. Like you see your dads, you see your moms, you see your siblings, you see your kids, your roommate, whatever. You see their stuff in there, and it communicates a message. What it communicates is, hey, this space is important. This space is sacred. You and I connecting this relationship is important. It's so important that I put my stuff away so I can be present to you. And so a tech basket is huge, and it's a struggle. And if kids do it, parents have to do it. Everyone has to be in on it. It can't be just something that you do for the kids. Parents have to do it as well. And I find actually, by the way, that parents are often the biggest offender of technology and use it more poorly. And I hear parents complain all the time about their kids' use of technology, and kids are disconnected, and they're not forming social circles. In my experience as a therapist, parents are sometimes the worst. We are the worst. Parents sometimes are the biggest offenders of being on a phone or something and not paying attention to kids. Sometimes parents are the worst of completely distracting themselves in Facebook and not paying attention to their relationship or their marriage. So it's not just kids, right? And so as a family, it's an important tip to practice. Number 2 is, just going to use a phone. It could be any phone. I have an iPhone here, but it could be any phone, is do an experiment for 2 to 3 weeks, preferably a month. I'm currently in an experiment right now it's been about 6 weeks where I removed everything that was an app that was a huge distractor for me. So I took off Facebook, I took off Twitter, I took off all my news feeds, any sports stuff I had, everything's gone, right? So it's just kind of basic phone. I did leave Instagram on there because I do like posting photos, but I don't check it that often. So it hasn't been a distractor. So about 6 weeks into removing those apps, and you know what? I don't have to be legalistic about it. I can put it back on anytime I want, but I wanted to experiment what it's like. And what I noticed in the first few weeks of how addicted I was constantly picking my phone anytime I went, and I was looking for that Facebook that's no longer on there. And it was just a reminder to me that how distracted I get and how unpresent I am to people in my life. And so think about your phone, pick all the apps that you think are a huge distractor, and go 2, 3, 4 weeks without using them, and just see what that's like for you. And I think if you try those 2 tips, I think you will see an improvement in all of the relationships you have. I think you will notice behaviors about yourself that you necessarily don't like when it comes to technology, and you'll work on improving those. And I think you will notice a change in being available and being present to the people that are most important to you, whether that's friends, roommates, spouses, kids, whatever. And it's going to take work. It's a hard thing to do. It'll be very hard in the first few days. But again, these things are important. And if my own life and all the couples and families that I work with are any example of it, we live in a culture that loves distraction and will do anything to be distracted. And technology often allows us to do that. And it often comes at the expense of our relationships. And sometimes a spouse will never tell you that, or a kid will never tell you that. But one of the things a spouse I know or a kid I know loves the most is when mom or dad or when son or brother or roommate or friend goes out and they're not distracted by technology. They feel like they have your attention and you can be present. And so I'm going to leave you with those 2 tips. Hopefully they're helpful to you, and let me know any feedback you may have. Have a good day.